Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
No, I'm okay. So we usually have a Bhakti Diksha on Sundays at 4 o'clock. Today being a very special day. So we combine our Bhakti Diksha with the Vyasa Puja celebration of Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj. Unfortunately, Tungi Mataji is stuck outside. She was supposed, her keys are inside the house and she's outside. So poor Mataji is stuck somewhere in therapy and she's not able to come. So she was supposed to talk about Harinam, the importance of holy name, but she can't. But I've requested Shyam Prabhu to enlighten us about the importance of Guru and importance of why Guru is important in our life. And then what we'll do is we'll do a offering to Maharaj, glorification. All the glorification happening, we'll offer Bhoga. And then no Arati today, so we'll have Kirtan. And then we'll honor Prashad. I think we have another Kirtan at Henley. Glenelg. So, Shyam Prabhu, if I can request you, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Move again.
Om Akyanatiramadasya Kyananjavashanakyachuchunalitamim Dashmi Shri Chaitanya Mahavishnu Stapatamayam Bhutale Swami Upakramim Virati Svapanandakam Panchkalpa Drubhischa Kripa Sindhya Chakatitanandadami Vaishnavya Om Namo Namaha Om Vishnu Hare Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamani Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharnam Vishesha Shinyavari Paschachanishthani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gauravaktrunda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, ISKCON Adelaide Yatra ki jai. So thank you Prabhu, thank you Pradeep Prabhu and Rushi Mataji and gang. For having us. Thanks, Maharaj Prabhu, for his service to, it's reflecting. Most of you guys have probably heard what I'm going to say before, but repetition of a good thing is a good thing. And most of you probably know more about the subject than I do, and so I say this is a little offering to purify myself. And so in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that one should approach Guru. And because the Guru has seen the truth, he can give us this divya gyan, this divine knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada said there's two ways to associate with the Guru. One way is in person, is the vapu, physical presence of the Guru, and the other way is the vani, which is the instruction. When Srila Prabhupada was in the US speaking to some hippies in the 60s probably, he said the most important thing you can get from the Guru is his vibration, because that was the very buzzword at the time, vibration. So the vani, the vibration, the instruction, is the second way we can associate with the Guru. And of the two ways, the vapu, which is the physical, and the vani, which is the vibrational, the instruction, of the two, the vani is considered more important, because we may have, or we may not have, the physical association with the Guru. We may not have very much vapu at all. In fact, a lot of Srila Prabhupada's disciples had very little. One of my Shiksha Gurus, my beloved Shiksha Guru, Bimal Prasad Prabhu, he never met Srila Prabhupada in person, but was given his beads and name via mail, and Srila Prabhupada wrote him a letter from Vrindavan in 1977. and actually gave him the name of his guru, Bimala Prasad. That was the name of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur before he took initiation. It was Bimala Prasad. So Srila Prabhupada actually gave Bimala Prasad. His name was Robert Dick before that. But to Robert, the name Bimala Prasad, which is interesting because Robert doesn't even start with B. But Bimala Prasad, later known as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said the only person who can be Guru is the person who sees everyone else as Guru and who sees everything as Guru. Just like in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the examples of so many Gurus, even as a prostitute in the list. So being able to see a Guru in every circumstance, this is divine vision. There was a famous story, again, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was giving class. Many times, of course, he would give class in Navadvip, Mayapur. And there was a particular gentleman, I don't know if he was a gentleman, but we could say a man, who would come and ask very challenging questions. He would always kind of harass Bhaktisiddhanta and really try and grill him and get under his skin maybe even, to the point where some of other devotees found, some of the disciples maybe found it a bit offensive. And so one day, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is outside with some of his disciples and they see coming up the road a kirtan procession. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he asked his disciples, "Oh, what's the festival? What's the occasion?" And the disciples said, "Oh, Gurudev, you know that man who would always come and challenge you and he was so rude. He's left his body and that's his kirtan. They're having a kirtan for his funeral procession as they bring his body up the road." And as he passed by, the devotees noticed that Bhaktisiddhanta had tears in his eyes. And after the procession had moved on, the devotees asked Bhaktisiddhanta, "Gurudev, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why are you upset? You should be happy, right? That this nasty man has..." Yeah, gone. And Bhaktisiddhanta, you know what he said? He says, "No, he was my guru." So this is a perfect example. He could see that, just like Prabhupada said with all his disciples, "My Guru Maharaj essentially, what do you mean?" And Prabhupada said he only met his guru maximum of 10 times, maybe not even 10 times, but he said, "He's always with me." There's never a time when Prabhupada was apart from his guru. So this is the Vani, the vibration and the instruction. And of course, the very first instruction that Prabhupada got on his first meeting with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was, "You're an educated young man, you speak English, you please spread this message of Lord Chaitanya to the Western world." So with every instruction given by the Guru, simultaneously the Shakti or the empowerment comes to carry out that order. And we were reflecting the other day, some of us were describing how many amazing disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Gokavinda Swami, Jayapataka Swami, Satchidananda Swami, the list goes on and on and on. Ayendra Prabhu, I mentioned Bimal, there's Indradumna Swami, we had Jayadvaita Maharaj here, all such amazing personalities. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, they're also amazing in their own way and all in very individual ways. And we were reflecting that it's like a garland. You have a garland of beautiful flowers to offer the Guru, and that garland is made up of each and every beautiful, sincere disciple. So Srila Prabhupada, as he said, from 1922 to 1933, he was preaching the message of his Guru Maharaj that he had given him, but he wasn't actually initiated. But he said that he felt he was initiated, and then he took formal initiation, I think 1933 if I'm not mistaken. So very little of the Vapu, mainly the Vani, mainly taking the instruction seriously, and because Prabhupada took that instruction seriously, therefore we're all sitting here together today. Ayendra Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada only ever said one word to him, Jai, because they were walking from Srila Prabhupada's quarters to the temple, and Ayendra was leading the kirtan, and Srila Prabhupada was walking right next to Ayendra Prabhu. And Ayendra said he couldn't play the mridanga properly, but he was just singing from his heart the best he could. And at a certain point, Srila Prabhupada looked over at Ayendra and just raised his head and said, Jai. So that one word, Ayendra took that as his life inspiration, and how many thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people have been touched by his kirtans as a result of following Srila Prabhupada's instruction, and he's following Bhaktisiddhanta's instruction. When Bhaktisiddhanta's mother, Bhagavati Devi, was leaving this world, her last words, her last breath, and her last request to her son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, was, you please make sure this Krishna consciousness gets to the Western world. Because that was so dear to her husband, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who originally envisioned, when will that day come when our Bengali brothers and our European brothers are side by side in the streets with mridanga and katos singing Jai Sachinandana Gauranga. When will that glorious day come? So he was, of course, the year Srila Prabhupada was born, 1896 was the first time that Lord Chaitanya's teachings ever left India in the form of a book written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur that went all around the world. I think even Australia, I think they may have even to the universities. So same year Srila Prabhupada is born. So that desire of Bhaktivinoda, Bhagavati Devi, as she's leaving her body, can you imagine, to her son, please make sure this comes to the West. And so Bhaktisiddhanta was so eager. The first thing he says to Srila Prabhupada is, you're an educated young man, you speak English, please take up this responsibility to share this message of Lord Chaitanya with the English-speaking people of the Western world. It was such an anxiety for him. The first thing he says to Srila Prabhupada, and of course the rest is history. But the Vani of the two is more important, and it's no reflection on the spiritual master. If two disciples get the same instruction and one disciple becomes a pure devotee and another disciple goes to hell. Vishnu Chan Maharaj one time said to Srila Prabhupada, you're giving me so much mercy. And Prabhupada said, I'm not giving you any more mercy than anyone else, but you're grabbing with both hands. And so even, Jagat Guru, savior of the whole universe, someone of that caliber, and Srila Prabhupada had exalted disciples and also had some, kirtanandas, so therefore it's, you can go either way. It's about the instruction. It's not about, and Prabhupada did give stress to this, it's not about the formal initiation. It's about the instruction. To the extent we take the instruction seriously, to that extent we're initiated. Otherwise someone can take initiation and be a complete asura from the same spiritual master. And that Divya Gyan, that instruction, as Rupa Goswami says, the most important thing we can do in our human form of life is take shelter of the spiritual master and take initiation from here. But what is the initiation? Real initiation is to take the instruction seriously. And Prabhupada has said the most important instruction, the most important service that we can render to our spiritual master, to the whole society, and to the whole parampara, disciple succession, is to complete a minimum of 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. And he said that's actually the most important instruction. In other places, Prabhupada actually gives, in fact, usually he'll say, it's the book distribution, the Brihat Mridanga, along with the street kirtan, are the most important activities. So whether we're formally initiated or not, and you can see actually in the last few days even, I was reading so many instructions, also, especially in Majja Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada is saying that this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is so powerful that it does not depend upon formal initiation. So this is the main instruction. So 2 ways to associate with gurus, the Vani and the Vapu, and then the most important instruction is the chanting of Hare Krishna, and then the japa gives us the strength to perform the congregational activities as a community, as a society, which are primarily book distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, and prasadam distribution. And I was very fortunate about 5 years ago to meet Dwaipayan Das, who was the first, Dwaipayan Prabhu was the first pujari ever in Melbourne, ISKCON Melbourne, for Gaunitai. It was beautiful, tall Gaunitai, if you've been to Melbourne. Got Gaunitai on the left, Radha Balabar, Sri Sri Radha Balabar in the middle, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra on the right. So on the left, Gaunitai, that were first worshipped. Actually, Prabhupada did the first puja, and he showed Dwaipayan Das, this is how you do, this is how you do. Putting the tulsi leaves on Mahaprabhu's feet, etc. And Dwaipayan Prabhu personally said this to me, and I was so glad to hear it, because I had heard this many times from different Prabhupada disciples. But Dwaipayan Das was actually there when Prabhupada said this. He said the Australian people, they're generally not so philosophically inclined. Therefore focus on prasadam and kirtan. So some souls will be inclined to read the books, but generally we should focus on prasad distribution and kirtan to carry out this desire of Bhaktisiddhanta, the first instruction he gave Prabhupada, which made Prabhupada get on the Jaladut and come to the West, etc. Which was so urgently imparted to him by Bhagavati Devi, his mother, as she's leaving this world. And it was so precious and dear to her because that was the desire of her husband, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So the way we do that primarily is the prasad distribution and the kirtan. And how many amazing cooks in here, right? Probably everybody apart from me can make amazing prasadam. And so we should focus on the Vani, we should focus on the instruction, we should focus on increasing the quality of our japa and the quantity as well. There's many statements of Srila Prabhupada. In fact, he says, just like if you have a fever and you take a certain amount of medicine but the fever is not coming down, you need to take more of the medicine. So this was a conversation with Lokanath Swami. He was Lokanath Prabhu at the time, I don't think it was sannyas yet. And Lokanath Swami came to Srila Prabhupada saying, Prabhupada, you know, he was concerned, he was a bit worried. Like some devotees are chanting 20 rounds, some are chanting more than 16, and he was concerned. And Prabhupada said, yeah, that's very good. He said, if you have a fever and you take a certain amount of medicine, the fever's not coming down, you've got to take more of the medicine. And the fever in this case is material attraction. The fever in our case is material attachment, material attraction, which of the 10 offenses of the holy name is to maintain material attachments despite hearing so many instructions, and to not have complete faith in the chanting of Hare Krishna. So this fever, we're experiencing it in the jaundice condition of not being able to taste or relish chanting Hare Krishna, not being able to taste and relish giving the holy name to others, and therefore we relish more lesser activities, because in Kali Yuga everything depends on Nam, according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So yes, the most important activity with our human life is to approach the spiritual master and take initiation. But what is the initiation? The initiation, according to Srila Prabhupada, is not formality. Real initiation means chanting Hare Krishna seriously. And the success will come from success in our chanting is not dependent on formal initiation. So we shouldn't have any reservation or hesitation to accept that principle. Rather, we should understand that Prabhupada is with us at every moment, Guru is with us at every moment, and encouraging us. As we said in the beginning, Guru is, the only person who can be Guru is the person who sees everyone else as Guru and everyone and everything as Guru. And Prabhupada has instructed every one of his disciples to come up to the level of Acharya, one who leads by example. So does anybody have anything they want to add to that? Because the topic of Guru, I started to say the most important activity in our human birth is to take initiation from the spiritual master. But what is the initiation? The real initiation is taking the instruction seriously, the Vani. Not being like a Keith Ham. We don't like to talk about it, but we need to learn from. Two disciples, formal initiation. One is an angel, one is a devil. So it's not the formal initiation, it is the instruction. I think that's about it. I wanted to. And Guru is, of course, the representative of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. He's the transparent via media of Lord Nityananda, Adi Guru Nityananda, who was empowered by Lord Chaitanya to go door to door and go out in public to distribute the holy names. So a real guru is someone who is repeating this instruction of Lord Nityananda. And a real disciple is someone who follows this instruction of Lord Nityananda and all of our disciple succession, to give the holy name, to spread the holy name to others. Not to remain in the jaundice condition where we've got more taste for Facebook than going out and sharing the holy name in public. We've got more taste for, you name it. Should I open the can of worms? So we need to take more of the medicine if we've got the fever. If we've got more attraction to material life than kirtan, and we've got more attraction and attachment to material life than our japa, if we're looking at the clock or looking at our counter when we're doing the japa because we're wondering, is it over yet? That means we're in the jaundice state. And we're committing at least one of the offenses. So therefore, if the fever is not going down, you have to take more of the medicine. And the most powerful way to get a taste for chanting the holy name, the most powerful way to get a taste for our japa is by congregational chanting. Getting together and actually, but you have to, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we're in ISKCON if we're in Krishna Consciousness. So ISKCON is not a physical location. Society for Krishna Consciousness means if we're in Krishna Consciousness, then we're in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. If we're in the building, or in the kirtan, but our consciousness is somewhere else, then that's inattentive chanting, offensive chanting. But even that, if we stick to that, we have to start somewhere. So if we show Krishna, if we show Guru and Gauranga, that even though I can't control my mind, I'm spacing out, at least physically I'm making an effort to be here and encourage others, help each other. And I'll finish just with probably this. Every year when the residents of Vrindavan were, some of the young girls were following the Katyayani Vrat to get Krishna as their husband, and which comes after Kartik, roughly, and every day, it goes for a month if I'm not mistaken, so every day the girls would make a murti of Goddess Katyayani and make nice offerings, bring nice offerings, and dress her with nice flowers, etc., incense. And every day the same girl would ask the same question. And what was the question she would ask? She would say, shall we all worship her individually, or should we all worship her, or should we all worship Goddess Katyayani together? She would ask that same question every day. And every day the same girl would get the same answer, was that no, we'll all worship her together, because she's more pleased like that. Just like the demigods, when they were trying to get Lord Brahma, they were trying to get Lord Vishnu's darshan. They had the same approach all together, and this will melt the heart of the Lord. So, just like we're coming together today, this is the secret. And yeah, like I said, the topic of Guru Tattva is unlimited, but these are a few realizations and things that I was able to remember. So thank you for letting me share them. And if anybody wants to add anything, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Haribol.
You said something about...
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You were saying something about formal initiation and that it's not that important. But at the same time, we've heard in lectures that it is the Guru only who sows the seed of bhakti.
That's true.
But then, again, so this Guru comes in many forms. And Chaitya Guru is in the heart, that's the super soul. So when, Chaitya Guru is seeing our sincerity. And according to our sincerity, he will direct the right person to us. He will direct us to the right person, or he will bring the right person to us at the right time. And maybe that person will come in the form of a book. And thank you for bringing that up, because Srila Prabhupada, this is another amazing pastime. And you'll find this on, there's an amazing series called Srila Prabhupada Memories, which are very addictive. They're on YouTube, and many of Prabhupada's disciples are sharing their recollections. So this was when book distribution was in full swing. And one disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, we're distributing hundreds and thousands of your books, we're distributing so many of your books, but if these people are not initiated, then they can't go back to Godhead. And Prabhupada turned to him, looked him in the eye, and said, just by reading my books, they are initiated. So he reasons still that Vaishnavas die when thou art still living in sound. Yeah, that's why Prabhupada got up, every day at midnight or 1 a.m. to translate these books, so that we would have access to his Vani, which is not different from him. But even in his physical presence, numerous times, because we have to understand, the Guru is the external representation of Super Soul, of Paramatma, Chaitya Guru. So if we're following the instruction of Guru, the Vani, that is non-different from his physical person. And that is non-different from following the instruction of Chaitya Guru of Super Soul. So as Prabhupada said, the transcendental system. By following the instruction, we're following Guru like that. And also, we can go on and on and on, but another beautiful statement Srila Prabhupada said is that when the devotees of ISKCON go out into public and chant Hare Krishna, they're actually initiating people into the chanting of Hare Krishna. But again, we're doing that on the instruction of the Guru.
No, that's actually like how.
So, yes, it's getting the mercy of the Guru, but as I said before, if two disciples take initiation, one of them can be a pure devotee, and one or many can be absolute monsters, which we've seen. So it was following the instruction which made them pure devotees, and it was thinking that the physical instruction, now I've got what I need, now I can do what I like, that was led to the downfall, to the opposite, But Srila Mahaprabhu has said himself that chanting of Hare Krishna is not dependent on formal initiation. You can look it up in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu has said this. It's been repeated by all the acharyas. It's been repeated by Siddhanta Saraswati. It's been repeated by Bhaktivinoda, but specifically Prabhupada has said many times. Because we're thinking that the instruction is a material thing. It's not. It's the most important way to associate with the Guru. And as well, the Bhagavad Marg is what gives us success in Kali Yuga, and that is chanting, dancing, feasting on philosophy. Pancharatra Marg of deity worship is for personal purification. That doesn't get you back to Godhead, at least not in Kali Yuga. And the Diksha initiation is from that mark. So our ISKCON process is like a combination of the two. But the actual essence is the Bhagavad mark, the chanting, dancing, feasting, and philosophy. In Kali Yuga, there's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way in chanting Hare, and that is the actual most important. And not only that, if we're fully engaged in deity worship, but we neglect the chanting of Hare Krishna, that's actually considered as an anartha. Because all the other activities, including initiation, and deity worship are supportive angas of bhakti. They're actually to support the mukhya anga, the main anga of bhakti, which is the chanting of Hare Krishna. They're only to support that. So if they impede that, or if anything gets in the way of that, even material things, if I get so concerned about money and education or whatever it is, and that's impeding my chanting of Hare Krishna, that's obvious, right? A material thing. But even in spiritual life, if we're so concerned with other angas of bhakti and we neglect the Yuga Dharma, which is the congregational chanting, which most of us do. I remember, at least for my first 10 years in ISKCON, I totally neglected it. Totally oblivious. So, very easy to do. But yeah, the Diksha initiation is part of the deity worship. So we can take initiation and we can do, which is also very powerful, very potent. It's one of the 5 most powerful aspects of bhakti. It doesn't matter. Even these other angas of bhakti in Kali Yuga, they're dependent on Nam, dependent on Kirtan. So we'll leave it there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Shri Krishna Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Kirtan Adelaide. Leave a like and subscribe.